Hello out there, and welcome to a new episode of Data Talks. This is Ben, and I have a great new interview partner today.
Thank you.
We're talking about the big news: Amazon entering the Dutch market.
Yeah, very exciting.
And for that reason, I felt like I'll find a person who really is in the market of working with marketplaces. So I'm having Nikki Eipen with me from Wunderman Thompson Commerce. So yeah, what is your daily job in this context of the market, Nikki?
Well, I'm a marketplace consultant here at Wunderman Thompson Commerce, and my job is to help brands and retailers succeed with marketplaces for the likes of Amazon or eBay or local marketplaces like Cdiscount in France or Bol.com here in the Netherlands. We work out a strategy, their strategy, short term, long term, make their organizations ready and onboard them, but also optimize their marketplaces business for them with improving the content, doing marketing campaigns on the marketplaces to drive sales in the end, to make them happy and to make consumers happy with the products.
Yeah, sales is what's all about at the end.
Revenues and sales is all that's what it's in the end all about.
Yeah, and I guess that's what you hopefully are all concerned, because that's the thing which matters, right? If you're succeeding or not. So I think this news, right, it probably was perceived as really dropping a bomb in a certain market. I'm not sure.
Yeah, depends. I've seen it coming for a very long time. The rumors are there for a very long time. But for sellers and for the market here, it may feel like a bombshell. But still, you never know when they come. And one day they will be there and they open up shop, and that always feels like a bombshell, like we've seen in other countries as well.
Yeah. So all right, I guess there might be many questions right now coming to your desk.
Yeah.
Especially when I think on the one hand side at all the current retailers. You mentioned one big name here in your home country. So what does it actually now really mean for retailers in the Dutch market? The entering of Amazon. How is that changing now?
Well, there are a lot of dynamics being added to the market. For offline retailers, it's going to be really difficult because Amazon is going to attract a lot of consumers to their platform, and offline retailers really have to think about what extra value can we add for the consumer to keep attracting consumers to our stores. Maybe we should develop an online strategy as well, which I would really recommend. For online retailers, there will be also a shift in where consumers go, because consumers will definitely go to Amazon because a price competition war on price will be ignited, because Amazon is already in the Netherlands. They are the 7th retailer already for Dutch consumers. 20% of Dutch consumers have a Prime subscription, so they're already here, but that will be ignited even further. A lot of competitors will be entering the Dutch market from other European countries, and also definitely from China. What we see in the United States is that more than 50% of the sellers on Amazon US are Chinese manufacturers. So they will be entering the European and the Dutch market as well. So there will be a lot of competition entering the Dutch market, and the competition will be fought on mostly price, but also on other factors that improve the customer experience, like the delivery time, etc. The personal service maybe as well.
Yeah, interesting that you're mentioning the price topic, right? I think that's the on the one hand side sometimes the myth, but also the fear which is around that it's purely a price comparison. But I also hear then obviously voices in the market which are convinced that competing a price is never a good strategy. So is there a certain thing what retailers have been doing, let's say maybe also in other countries, to deal with that challenge, right? To not fall into the hole of the price competition. What is the extra thing you've been seeing others are offering? Is there something which
Well, of course,
stands out?
price is an important factor, but it's not the only factor. It really depends in which position you are. For retailers, they really have to think, what can I offer the consumer that Amazon can't, or do I have to join Amazon as well? It's a join or compete trade-off. You can do both as well, but they really have to shift the mindset back to the consumer. What value can I add for the consumer? What does the consumer want? What is the consumer looking for? And how can I keep the consumer loyal to my store, to my service? We see that consumers over a longer term are less loyal to brand and becoming more and more loyal to service. And that's a very good thing to keep in mind if you want to keep attracting consumers.
Yeah, the loyalty is a big thing, and I have an idea. I want to come back to that later again. So we looked at the retailers. So the entering of Amazon. What does that, in your view, mean actually then for the brands or brand manufacturers? How does that change now, right?
They have to move where the consumers go. Consumers are on marketplaces, and consumers will be on Amazon. So brands actually have two options. They can stick with the traditional value chain as it exists and have the retailers supply the consumers, or they can go on offensive strategy and directly sell to the consumers on Amazon, on older marketplaces. That is the trade-off they have to figure out. On the one hand, they say, I keep supplying my wholesalers and I'm not going direct to consumer because of the contracts that are already there. But in the end, are your retailers in the end able to communicate your brand values properly? And your products are going to end up on Amazon and marketplace as well, and you have to choose as a brand, am I going to do it myself, or do I allow my retailers to do so?
Yeah, that connects to a thing. I think you mentioned a very important point is, can these channels, retailers or distributors, transport my brand experience, my product experience? And that all very often has really, in my experience, to do with the data and how they're able to position that and how they're really can impact that. So that's for sure where I see data is playing a key real role in that market. So Amazon, for sure, in my view, is key, important, but it's one channel to sell through, right? Since many years, the world is talking and dreaming about the end-to-end, seamless, connected customer experience across any channel or omni-channel. So, and that's not a new term. It's around probably about a decade now. I would say. Whether we call it multi and omni, blah 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 things. Looking at the market today, Nikki, where is reality? Where are the companies on achieving this seamless multi-channel, omni-channel customer experience?
Well,
what's your take?
It's getting more difficult and more difficult over time because more and more channels are available to sell. More and more marketplaces are coming up. There's social commerce coming. There's conversational commerce coming. There's video commerce coming. Voice commerce is a little bit already there. So there are numerous channels to reach consumers, and it's getting more and more difficult to keep a consistent how do you call that? Keep a consistent brand experience.
Yeah, experience.
Customer experience, brand experience there. I think many organizations have a long way to go because many of them don't don't really know what omnichannel really means for them. There's no internal definition or a playbook or a framework or a manifest that really explains this is what omnichannel means for us and this is how we're going to do that. For example, some organizations think that it's just across devices, like one web shop, but it's accessible on a desktop and on a mobile device.
Yeah, that's probably a bit old-fashioned view, right?
Yeah, but still, many retailers and brands are still struggling on that level. The mobile first approach is still for many organizations new.
Yeah, interesting, because when speaking of mobile is right, I recently hear people positioning that, let's say, moving away from horizontal video formats to mobile-oriented things, right? How you hold your device is kind of a new thing, and we're still kind of recording like our TV screen at home, but most of things are happening in that format. And you can actually, small companies can build and maybe or completely found their online business just on the iPhone, for example, or any kind of mobile device. So you mentioned a thing where I want to go a bit deeper. Is you said playbook, right? Playbook or guideline. How to define this? So how do the companies who struggle with defining what customer experience means for them, how do they get there? So how would you lay out on a high level, right? We can't go in every detail now, but kind of how to create this playbook. What is your advice?
Well, for me, omnichannel customer experience means that you are consistent in every touch point that you have with the consumer, whether it's online or offline, in a shop, whether it's a customer calling you for a question, like where's my order, or I want to return it. So, and every touch point every contact point that you have with a consumer, it needs to be a positive experience first, and secondly a consistent experience. And that's where I would start to map in which places, which devices, which channels am I interacting with the consumer, and how do I make that consistent, and what parameters are relevant for that. Is it price is relevant? It needs to be consistent across channels. You can't tell me that when I'm talking to a customer agent that I get a different price than what's being communicated on the web shop or any other sales channel.
So you mentioned, right, the thing I'm learning is consistency as a key term, and but then there are again the questions of devices, tools, software, platforms, which are in larger enterprises around. How do the companies bring all that together, this consistency?
Think consumer-centric. You start with consumer, you map all the touch points, all the devices, and then think about which infrastructure do I need to supply that. So you always start with the consumer and then work backwards to the technology, and not the other way around. Yeah,
that's a very good point, because I had a very good conversation on the e-commerce show here yesterday, because many companies still think they need to have long requirements of features they need from their platforms to enable customer experience and so on. And this person said, if a customer comes to me with that, I say, you don't understand what you need. And what he actually meant, what you're saying is, think about the e-commerce sale or the customer experience you want to achieve.
Exactly.
And not by defining features on your tools and platforms. The mindset thing, right?
The consumer doesn't really care about which technology you use, or as long as it's serving the needs of him or her.
Very good. So, and that I have observed kind of for sure Instagram recently being very relevant also for my own experience, how I'm following brands, how I'm also getting inspired by people who target me. And it made me very easy kind of to try out new brands, which I even did not know. By the way, the pants I'm wearing today, they say these are pants you will never take them off. It was not that super cheap. I did not know the brand, but I purchased them, and the promise was right. So they catch me somehow with that attention and the content and the promise, and they actually kept the promise. So, right, everyone's probably not talking about it, shopping and offering things on Instagram, or even TikTok is a big hot trend coming up as well. So if we start with Instagram, what is your key guidance or points for companies who want to sell on Instagram? Are there a few kind of key things they need to consider? Must do.
First, they need to know the customer journey, because you were inspired on Instagram, but on which channel did you actually buy your pants?
Yeah. So good thing. This one did not offer the checkout directly. Exactly. So the click brought me to the web shop, right? But I was obviously staying on my phone. In this case.
Yeah, and that is you have to be aware about is that the attraction of the consumer, the marketing, is very closely related to the commerce, to actually convert a visitor into a customer. So if you don't align that, you can get a lot of traffic from Instagram, but if your webshop is not optimized for your consumer, maybe the price is communicated differently, the product title is different, you click on a pants but you will refer to a page with a t-shirt. You really need to have your data in order there. So yeah, to fulfill the complete customer journey as smoothly as possible.
Excellent. So I think we have already spent more than 15 minutes. I think that's hopefully a worthwhile.
I still have a lot to tell.
I'm pretty sure, right? We were trying to make these interviews easy, consumable. So I'm pretty sure there's more what you can learn from Nicky and his colleagues. So I'm making a cut here, and I want to say thank you, Nicky. Right, if you want to go deeper, you find him on LinkedIn and so on.
Great.
I'm really enjoying the conversation with you, and for sure
Likewise.
there's more things in the concrete things about the data you need to make this happen. But you know where to find us. But thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful.
Thank you.